time you are possibly going to watch a movie in a theater? That's perhaps a question you've been asking yourself, a point of discussion. Well, whenever that may happen, there are a number of companies and players right now who are making sure they have your mind space and your attention when it comes to entertainment. I have the opportunity to sit down with a media mogul today, actually, and talk about what the future of entertainment is going to look like. I'm pleased to welcome on the show this evening Uday Shankar, President of the Walt Disney Company APAC and Chairman Star in Disney India. Uday, great to have you on the show.
Great to be on the show and great to be with you. As you know, your viewers might want to know that you and I go back a long time. We were colleagues back in the days when I was a news person.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is why it would be interesting for viewers to know what a keen sense you have of timing that journalists often have to stay current in the business. Which is why, Uday, the timing of the announcement of 7 mega movies coming at a time to Disney Hotstar when everyone is housebound, giving a lot more attention to their screens, and they don't know when the theaters are going to open. It's something which other players have tread lightly towards, but you've plunged full on. What is the strategy?
So the strategy is, you can say that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So other people have treaded lightly, but we at Star and Disney, we don't believe that you should tread lightly. Either you believe in a strategy or you don't believe in a strategy. We've been doing this for some time. In full honesty, the COVID crisis has just accelerated or catalyzed that whole process. But we've been thinking about two things. As one of the biggest film studios in the country, we produce more films than perhaps most production companies in India. And we've been thinking about this whole challenge of getting enough theatrical screens, getting the right release window. And the Indian film industry is at a point where the shortage of theatrical screens is beginning to choke the creativity of the industry and its business potential. And we've been thinking about that as a studio. And then when we launched disney+hotstar and we created reasonable scale and have ambitions of becoming the biggest direct-to-consumer service in the country, we felt that if we have the best of sports and if we have the best of drama, why should we not create a virtual, multiplex that people will be able to, enjoy and get the best movies? And we decided that if we had to do this, there was no better time than this time when, one, theaters are all shut, and two, people are really afraid to go to theaters. And as a result of that, a lot of films that have been made, they're stuck in the pipeline. There's a cost of capital. There is talent that's stuck. There is uncertainty. And people are frustrated and hungry for fresh movies, new movies. So we decided that we should do this, and we should do this decisively and at scale, and hence this.
But how do you make money? I know you don't usually talk financials, but I just want to get a sense of where the business model is. Now, if I go to watch a movie, and depending on where I am, I spend between 150 to sometimes 800 rupees a ticket. Then I possibly buy a tub of popcorn. I will, buy other beverages, etc. And I have a nice fat expenditure at the movie. Here, I get it for free. Who makes the money? How do you make the money? Is there a business model which is clear out there right now, or is this just acquisition costs?
No, I'm sure there's a business model, but not all business models directly lead to making money on each asset that you or each product that you create. We are in a business where the value comes from having a large number of subscribers and having them for a long period of time, and having them deeply engaged with you. And that is why we have, at disney+hotstar in India, we have created a business model which is very, very focused on having the best of drama content, the best of sports, IPL, ICC, everything. And also, we decided that we will play very aggressively in the movie space. And yes, you're right. When people go, they buy a soft drink and they buy pack of popcorns. Maybe we will get into the popcorn selling business very soon. But before that, the real issue is that, Tamanna, the Indian Indian creative business and Indian creative community has the potential of producing many more stories, of producing many more films, telling many more stories, more writers, more actors, more other artists, technicians can get gainfully engaged. But now films have been, there is a choke point that's been building up in the exhibition.
No, that's true. But just to reiterate, so this is a customer acquisition strategy right now.
Yeah, we are in the business of customer acquisition. And I'm a big believer that if you have the customer, you should be able to make money. If you're not able to make money, then you clearly do not understand your customer. So we are very clear about this. This is exactly what we were told when we went into sports and we acquired the cricket rights, IPL, etc. People said, "Oh, this is great, but how will you make money?" Believe me, we make money.
Okay, so is there scenario in the future if this becomes the default option for viewing entertainment for a critical mass of Indians, that people start paying per view? I mean, there have been some experimentation with that right now in the Indian OTT space, but it hasn't really worked. Do you think that's a sustainable model?
Tamanna, I'm not a big fan of pay-per-view models. Those are very transactional engagements with your customer. And I don't think a platform which has a long-term vision, which wants to be the substitute to television in this country, should do something as tactical as a pay-per-view. I'm really not in favor of that. Who knows? Tomorrow, we might change our strategy, but that's not what we are looking at right now. What we are indeed looking at is to get tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people to come and become subscribers of Disney+Hotstar. And once we do that, that becomes a really, really attractive business, with many possibilities.
Okay, so what happens to the movie theater business? I mean, I know I have seen you quoted elsewhere as saying that theaters will still have their charm, etc. But it doesn't really seem feasible. Once people get used to receiving entertainment at their homes, possibly for a fraction of the cost, even in a post-COVID scenario, whenever that happens, it's going to be a tough proposition to sell. Someone said that no one can fight an idea whose time has come. Is this an idea whose time has come? The way we view entertainment has changed forever?
Oh, absolutely. It's an idea whose time has come. It's an idea that was long overdue. And I think it's our muscle memory, the fear of the unknown, and the resistance or reluctance to innovate and try out new things is what was holding us back. The fear. That's what it was. And now that COVID has caused this massive disruption where we don't know whether nobody has been to a theater for 3 months or 4 months, and nobody knows whether in the next 3, 4, or 6 months we will go to a theater. That's just the immediate trigger. But let me just tell you, we would not have done this, at least at our company, we wouldn't have done this if it was just a short-term thing. Because there is nothing that I like to do which is tactical and short-term. We think that it is really an alternative, a virtual theatrical option that we are creating. And that doesn't mean, this doesn't undermine theaters in any way. Let me just give you one data point. That average viewers do not go to theaters more than thrice a year. But they watch many more movies than three movies in a year. And that is why there is a space. Because, going to a theater is a great experience, but it's an experience and it comes with a lot of logistical, sort of surroundings. You need time, you need company, and it's expensive. Most of our film lovers are cost conscious, and to go book a ticket, and as you said, spend money on everything else, the entertainment, the food, etc., etc. So that is what is becoming a big problem. And we thought that if people are going to go to a theater only twice or thrice a year, and they would still go for this one big movie of their favorite star, which is really good, they will go for that movie.
I think you're being kind. I think you're being kind because you look at the arbitrage or the advantage that movie theaters have had so far. And that is the novelty factor. That if there is a new movie I want to see, I have to see it in the theater right now, or wait 6 to 8 weeks to see it on an OTT platform, by when everyone would have told me the story. Right? But you've taken that out of the equation, then how are they to survive?
That's not quite the case. Data is not in favor of that argument, I'll tell you. because people go 3 times, 4 times in a year, but they watch many more movies, and a lot of movies are consumed on TV anyways. It's just that they come to TV a couple of months later. In fact, now the window between theatrical release and television premiere and digital premiere is shrinking. I mean, the new OTT services and also the movie channels, they have been, some movies are getting released on these home screens really a couple of weeks later. So, and that hasn't brought down the movie business. Let me just take you back to what I first heard 15 years ago, when movie channels became big, and we started acquiring at Star, and other companies started acquiring movies aggressively. It was said that nobody will go to the theaters anymore because they would just wait for a few weeks or a few months. That time it was few months, and there was massive resistance from exhibition and distribution sectors that, there should be so much gap, 6 months, 9 months, 8 months. Today, the gaps have shrunk. It's literally down to a few weeks, and movie channels are big, and theater business has grown bigger. I believe that by doing this, we are just, creating an alternative, so that there are an alternative channel of exhibition and distribution for movies, and both will be really big. The only beneficiary of this would be film lovers. First of all, they will have many more films to watch, and some in theaters and some at home, and the entire creative community. And the second point that I need to make, as I said, we are a big film studio. We make probably more films today in India than any other studio. And we are also big consumers of films. We have movie channels in multiple languages. We have disney+hotstar. So we are deeply committed to movies. However, our commitment is to the movie business, and our commitment is to the movie fans. Our commitment can't be to every individual in the value chain, because everybody needs to come under pressure so that they evolve and they create new models of business.
Right. The other big obsession in India and source of entertainment apart from movies is cricket, and the big elephant in the room right now is IPL. I know you would not know if and when IPL will happen. Nobody knows at this point. I want to get a sense from you on how big a blow is it if IPL does not take place this year? What does it do to the space of sports broadcast, to the advertising and everything else, the allied economics around it?
It's a very good question, but you have to see this in perspective. First of all, IPL had to be suspended, and IPL is not the only live sport tournament that got suspended. Globally, every sports tournament had to be suddenly suspended, because you're talking about the lives of people who go to the stadiums and grounds to watch the match, the production crew, the broadcaster, and above all, the players themselves. So it had to be done. Right now, we don't know exactly. At least we don't know at Star whether, when IPL will happen. All I can tell you is that in every engagement that I have had with the BCCI, we get the sense that they're extremely keen to do it sooner than later, provided they find a safe environment and, a place that is safe enough to hold the tournament. I'm hoping that the intensity of the infection will decline shortly. Right now, in any case, for the next couple of months, nothing can happen because of the monsoons. The grounds have become unserviceable. But after that, hopefully, once we are out of the monsoon, the crisis of the virus would have diffused a great deal, and then we should be able to get back to sports. But I should tell you one thing. Cricket is so deep in this country that even if one tournament is not held, I don't think people are going to forget or lose interest in cricket. That's not the thing. The second question that you asked is really the elephant in the room as far as we are concerned. That IPL is an expensive tournament. You know the amount of money we have paid for it to break even for us, for it to break even for other stakeholders. The advertising activity needs to be really substantial. Now, given the kind of economic shock that we have seen in this country post-lockdown, I'm not really sure whether the market is ready to support and sustain IPL with the same fervor and gusto that it traditionally had. IPL, if there is one tournament where people will put money, is the IPL. but only if they are going to put money. But if some, because the entire economic environment has gone through a massive shock, whether it would recover enough to put thousands of crores worth of advertising over a span of 6, 7, 8 weeks is the real issue. And we don't know. It's a tough one.
All right, we'll wait and see how it pans out. There are questions to which we have no answers, except that people are going to watch more and more content. It is up to those in the business to find a way to produce it.
Absolutely. And that's the real question. It's not going to be so easy for us to come back to content production, content creation, in business as usual terms, because the virus is still there. The fear of the virus is there. The fear of being in closed spaces, working in close proximity, it's a real fear and it's a psychological fear. We'll have to find ways of doing that safely and spontaneously. Because if it is not spontaneous, then it will reflect on the quality of content and the strength of the content that we create. It's a tough one.
Absolutely. A lot of tough challenges there, but great insights coming in from you there. Pleasure to speak with you as always.
As always. Thank you very much.